Blind love and the search for a spouse. Love is blind is an old familiar saying which usually refers to the phenomenon where you feel so strongly about someone that you don't see the person's fault, or as some would say, you don't wish to see the person's faults or shortcoming. What causes blind love? Is it really an inability to see or notice, or unwillingness to notice? Some say that what we call being in love is really the result of a host of hormones that flood our system and give us that feeling of being in love. In that condition, our focus is narrow. It's mainly on the beautiful and attractive aspect of the object of our affection. Sometimes, though, the blindness doesn't come from love. It comes more from a strong wish to get married for various reasons, such as not wanting to remain the only person in your group of friends who is still single, or not wanting to have to keep fielding questions like, "Have you found someone yet? When is your own turn?" I actually remember a friend who very many years ago, when we're both still single, said she had started to dislike attending weddings because sooner or later somebody would say, "When is your turn? When are you inviting us?" and so on. Sometimes the blindness comes from a person expecting that by a certain age or time they would have gotten married, and if that time reaches and they are not yet married, they then get so anxious, they refuse to slow down and look closely. Whatever the cause of this blindness, it really can be detrimental because it could make you make choices that are not the best for you, or decide to do something like get married to the right person but at the wrong time. In the quest for a spouse, it helps to have certain clear criteria, things to look out for, things to say, this is the standard I want, this is the bar I want. I sometimes hear people being told that because they've reached a certain age or they've been married before, they can't have high standards. Which then leads one to the question, what should your standard be? What criteria should you have on your list? Is it better to have a long list or a short one? Should you demand for certain special things, or should your criteria be more general in nature? The answers to these questions lie in the answer to this one question: who are you? Open your eyes to yourself. Call upon that sense of self-awareness. What are your pluses and minuses? What is your personality? What are your needs? What are your preferences? Look at all of these things, then start asking what kind of person would complement your kind of person, and what kind of person would you complement best. Marriage is very much a two-way street. It's a hugely transactional relationship where you are given in exchange for what you are receiving. So there have to be these complementary qualities. When I first got married, I had reached an age where people were already asking me, what are you waiting for? I remember someone once telling me, you haven't gotten married yet because you are not serious. If you were serious, you'd have married one of those people who are interested in you. After trying, different approaches and going on various quests for a spouse, I came to a certain conclusion at one point that I didn't need a long list. Initially, I had a pretty long one, not too long, but pretty long. And I just realized after several years and after several experiences that I didn't need a long list. What I needed were certain boundaries, certain non-negotiables, plus a certain degree of openness and flexibility. I posed 2 questions to myself at one point, and I'll share those 2 questions with you. Get ready to provide yourself some answers. The first question: what qualities must you absolutely have in a spouse? Underline must, print must over again and again with your pen. Underline absolutely. What qualities must you absolutely have in a spouse? These would be the qualities, or the quality if you have just one, that you know you cannot do without, you can't live without it. That once a person possesses this quality or these qualities, everything else would be tolerable, everything else would look right. The second question, what qualities can you not live with? Not. Underline it and then make it bold. When you ask this question, you're talking about the qualities that once they exist in a person, from your perspective, everything else reduces in value or becomes totally meaningless and becomes intolerable. Going by these two questions, how many things do you have as your absolute must-haves and your definitely cannot live with? My absolute must-haves came down to just 3 things. One was someone who shows a sincere love for Allah and expresses it by trying to be the best they can be, going in line with the Quran and the Sunnah. And I would usually look out for qualities where if the person hears a verse of the Quran, for instance, or a hadith, the person would actually just submit to that once the person is convinced that this is the true word of Allah and this is really what the Prophet, peace be upon him, said. The person would be critical, of course, but once they've come to the point of acceptance, the next thing is to put into action. A second absolute must-have for me was honesty, frankness, integrity, all of those qualities springing from a love for truth. And the third absolute must-have, which is related to the second one, is an inability to be malicious or deceitful. Once these qualities were there, I knew I was ready to accept anything else that came with these, because I felt like these are the qualities that push away many bad habits, many troublesome traits that we see in marriage. I had my concerns about being married. I would sometimes wonder, how do you decide to marry someone that you didn't know from Adam 2 years ago or 1 year ago? You don't know where they've been. You've not been a witness to their whole lives. They could be standing in front of you and lying to you. How do you make such a big decision to marry that person that you don't really know? And I therefore felt once the person had these qualities, no matter how life turned them, no matter what came our way, we would always have that base of a true love for Allah guiding us and that integrity as well. My definite can't live with was 1, falsehood. So lying, deception, not being concerned about the truth, but rushing to judgment just because you heard something. These things springing up from falsehood, I knew I could not live with. Once I had those things, they formed my boundaries, and with everything else, I was ready to be open, to be flexible. Things like, where did the person come from? What's the person's job? What does the person look like? For me, beauty resided more within the person's soul, the person's mind, and the body was just a vehicle. Now, some people will have just 2 items on their list at the end of this exercise, and some would have a few more, but rarely will you have a long list at this point. These are the boundaries that you set when you're searching for a spouse. Within these boundaries, stay flexible and keep an open mind. When you walk into a tailor's shop, a dressmaker's shop, you go there with an idea of the kind of things you want, and then you can demand for more. You know, make the sleeve like this, style the collar that way, add these accessories and so on. But you don't have a human being that's made to order. You don't have a bespoke human being. Every human being will come to you already packaged. There is so much about their lives, things that went on before you met them, things going on even as you are both discussing this idea of getting married that you do not know about, that you have no hand in, you can't predict, you can't control, you can't dictate. So go into the quest for a spouse with a good dose of humility, curiosity, and openness. Even if you have seen someone you're interested in, enter that getting to know you phase, the phase where I know you, but I want to know you better to see, can we go on this journey together? Can we get married? Or we've agreed we're going to get married. Now let's sort out a few things. Go through that whole phase with humility, curiosity, and openness. Go into it with a hifdul aid paradigm. That is a paradigm where you are striving to preserve and to enhance your dignity and the dignity of the other person. That is where you say, I am important. My needs, my preferences, my experiences all matter. I matter. Allah has honored all human beings and I am honorable. And you say and think the same of the other person, that this person's needs, experiences, preferences, traits are all important, that this person matters, that this person is one of the children of Adam that Allah has honored, therefore this person should be honored too. Respect and honor and validate the package that is another human being. Have an adventurous mindset. Be ready to discover, to learn, to grow. Appreciate the differences that exist between the two of you. Differences are not bad. They're actually a chance to discover, to learn, and to expand your mind. Differentiate between what is wrong and what is simply different. Differentiate between what is clearly wrong and what your preference is. Don't mix them up. I got married very many years ago. My late husband died in a car crash. When we first met, some of the things that stood out for me were our differences. I loved reading books. He didn't. He loved sports. I really didn't. Still don't very much. He loved motion. I liked stillness. He used to say he just couldn't imagine how I could bear to sit in one place for an hour plus watching something or reading a book. But we also had similarities. We both loved being at home. We had a radical love for the truth, for frank talk, and a deep distaste for mind games and manipulation. I remarried after he passed, and my current husband, we are different in some ways. He is slow-tempered. I am fast-tempered compared to him. He's diplomatic. I am the kind who would quickly get to direct talk as soon as possible. But we both love reading. Reading is still our best way to learn. We both love nature, but we express our love for nature differently. We both love learning and growing. I have learned to see the differences that exist between me and other people, my spouse, my friends, family members, as opportunities to learn and to expand myself. Each human being is a composition of too many variables to be captured in a tidy list. Respect that. Open your eyes to these variables. Respect them and be ready to talk about them, especially where they raise questions in your mind, where they make you concerned. Observe this person. Involve other clearer heads to help you also observe and consider. If you have concerns, raise them. Do raise them. It may not be a comfortable thing to do, but you should either raise them and bear the discomfort now, when there's still room to renegotiate and talk and change your mind if you want, quite easily. Or later on you will cry about it, you will quarrel about it, and some marriages have broken over issues that gave concern before the marriage took place. Be mindful of this idea that every Muslim will make a good spouse, that every religious person will make a good spouse. Look carefully at how they express their faith. Faith is about the belief in the heart and the actions, the behavior. The two have to go together. Look at how they handle money, their relationship with money. Money matters are one of the major causes of marital discord. How do they interact with others? That's another interesting thing to look at. What is their communication style? Are they sharers? Are they open? Or are they more taciturn in their style? They don't like speaking much. They use very few words. What about conflict style? How do they quarrel? What are they like in a conflict, especially a hot one? What are their needs? What are their personalities? Be mindful of people who tell you, you must marry this person or else, such as parents. I'm a parent, but I have seen the damage caused by many parents who insist that their child must marry so and so because, oh, we are family friends, you want to ruin our friendship, or at this stage, how can you say no at this stage? I've made all the plans, the cards have gone out, etc., etc., etc. Radical self-care, loving self-care demands that when you make such a huge decision as marrying someone, with all those implied promises that come with that decision, which we talked about in a previous masterclass, that when you do that, you have to do it willingly. It's one of the requirements for the validity of marriage in Islamic law. So any parent or guardian who is pushing someone into a marriage is going against the law, is going against the requirement of Allah and His Prophet, peace be upon him. It's therefore important that if they do not take responsibility for themselves and do what's right by you, you should do what's right by yourself. Lastly, whether your love is blind or your love has got only one eye or two eyes, it's important to do istikhara. I mentioned it last, but it should always be your first thing. Istikhara is the dua that the Prophet, peace be upon him, taught his companions and urged them to do whenever they had to take a decision. So they would do it when they had important decisions to make. Sometimes people say istikhara is you do the 2 rak'ah nafila and then you make the dua and then you wait for a sign. Some others would say, oh no, you have to ask a holy person, a more religious person to do it for you or your parents. If we go strictly by what the Prophet, peace be upon him, taught his companions, istikhara is something you do for yourself. You perform 2 rak'ah of salah, nafila. When you're done, you then make a dua to Allah, where you ask him. In this dua, you ask Allah, Allahumma, O Allah, Inni astakhiruka bi'ilmika. I'm asking of your preference based on your knowledge. Wa astaqdiruka biqudratika. And I ask of your decree based on your power. Wa as'aluka min fadlikal azim. And I ask of your favor or your great favor or your great blessing. Fa innaka taqdir wa la aqdir. For verily you have ability, I don't have ability. Wa ta'alamu wa la a'lam. And you know, you have knowledge, and I do not have knowledge. Wa anta 'allamul ghuyub. And you have knowledge of things that are unseen. Here we consider his knowledge of the future, his knowledge of the story behind this person that we are looking at or considering. In kunta ta'alamu anna hadha al-amra. If you know that this matter, and it's usually recommended that you then specify what the matter is, marriage to so and so, or saying no to so and so. Khayruli is good for me, fidini, in my deen, wa ma'ashi, in my livelihood, wa aqibatu amri, and the disposal of my affairs, fagdurhuli, decree it for me, make it happen, let it be. Wa in kunta ta'alamu, and if you know, anna hadha al-amra, that this matter, sharruli, is not good for me, fi dini wa ma'ashi wa aqibatu amri, in my religion, my livelihood, and the disposal of my affairs, fasrifhu anni, turn it away from me, fasrifni an, and turn me away from it, faqdur al-khayru, and decree for me what is good, haythu kanu, wherever it may be, thumma radinib, then make me pleased with it. I loved this dua when I first learnt it. I read it and I was just moved by the power of the words, and I would use it again and again to say yes to a proposal, to say no to a proposal. Even when I felt deep within my spirit that I really do not want to marry this person, I would still take the matter before Allah to say, Allah, this is my decision. This is what I want, but I'm submitting to your decree. I'm submitting to your superior knowledge, your knowledge of the things that I do not see. Keep Allah close to you. Remember soul, mind, then body. Let Allah and every consideration connecting you to Him always come first. May Allah bless your quest. May Allah grant you a companion that would be good for you in this life and in the hereafter, and make you a companion that would be good for that person in this life and in the hereafter. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.